In this lesson, we will learn about self-service password resets or SSPR. First, we will answer the question why use SSPR. Then we will go through the configuration options for SSPR along with how users reset their passwords. And finally, we will conclude our lesson with the review questions. So why use SSPR? In a day-to-day operation, users can sign into Office 365 or Azure portal to reset their passwords. What if they forget their passwords? In this case, they have to contact helpdesk staff, which consumes a lot of time for helpdesk staff in a big corporation. That is the reason why SSPR comes into the place to allow users to reset their password if they can provide their username and prove their identities via authentication methods. And if they have any issue resetting their password with SSPR, they still can contact helpdesk staff. However, SSPR requires the users to have either P1 or P2 licenses. To configure SSPR, we need to log into Azure portal and click on Microsoft Entra-ID. Then we scroll down to password reset and click on it. As you can see, there are three options. The first option is none, which doesn't allow users to change their passwords. And the second option is selected, which allows us to select groups and allow users in these groups to reset their password. And the last option is all, which allow all users to reset their password. For security best practice, we should click on selected. And in our case, we select the P2 license group and we click on select and click on save. As you know, it is critical to verify users' identities before allowing them to reset their passwords. So along with the security questions, we can configure additional authentication method in the authentication methods policies. And here are all the authentication methods. We must enable them to verify users. However, we need to know which methods can be used with SSPR. This table shows us only the following methods are supported in SSPR when they are enabled in the authentication method policies and how to register them and how to authenticate for a password reset. At the minimum, users must register the number of methods required to reset before they can use SSPR. From the previous table, we know that only Microsoft Authenticator, SMS, voice call, email OTP are supported in SSPR when they are enabled. Now let's click on Password Reset. As you can see here, we can configure the number of methods required to reset. If we select one, which means the user have to register at least one method to use SSPR. And if we select two, then the user have to register at least two methods to use SSPR. Now let's click on security questions. Here we can configure the number of questions required to register. The default is 5, which means the users have to register 5 questions. And we can configure the number of questions required to reset. The default is 3, which means the user have to answer 3 questions to reset their password. Now let's click on select security questions. Here we can custom our questions where we enter our own question or click on Predefine to select 5 questions and click OK, then click OK, then click Save. As you know, security question is not recommended. So let's unselect that and click Save. The next option is registration. The default option is yes, which makes Azure requires users who are configured with SSPR to register their authentication methods when they sign in. And we can also enter the number of days before users are asked to reconfirm their authentication information. The default option is 180 days, and we can enter up to 730 days. And if we set it to 0, then registered user will never be prompted to reconfirm their existing authentication information. Let's now have Ryan Brown logins to Azure portal. So here he had to paste his password, then click on sign in. As you can see, he is prompted to register for an authentication method, and in this case it is Microsoft Authenticator. Here on his phone, where he installed Microsoft Authenticator, he have to scan the QR code, and when his account is created in Microsoft Authenticator, he can click next. Then here he have to type in 15 on his phone, then click next, then click done. That's it. Let's see how Ryan resets his password. To do that, he have to open the URL aka.ms/SSPR, and it will redirect him to the site passwordreset.onmicrosoftonline.com. Here he have to enter his email address or user principal name ryan.brown@itlifeskills.com. Then he have to prove that he's not a robot by typing in the letters in the CAPTCHA, then click next. Because he registered for Microsoft Authenticator app, so he have 2 options. The first option is to enter a code in his Authenticator app, or the second option is to approve a notification on his Authenticator app. If he select this option, he have to click send notification, and the screen show the number 55. Now on his phone, he have to type in 55 to match with this number, and he have the option to enter his new password. And if he enter the new password and confirm his new password and click finish, he can reset his password. Now let's change the number of methods required to reset password to 2 to see if Ryan still can reset his password. Let's now have Ryan repeat the same step to reset his password. So here he have to enter his user principal name ryan.brown@itlifeskills.com. Then he have to enter all the letters in the CAPTCHA to prove that he is not the robot, and then click on the next button. As you can see, he cannot reset his password, and in the additional detail is showing that he hasn't registered the necessary security information to perform the password reset, and now he has the option to contact the helpdesk team, so he can click on the contact your administrator link, and it shows that the admin has been notified. So who will be notified in this case? So by default, the helpdesk administrator, the password administrator, the user administrator, and the global administrator roles will be received the email from Ryan. The next option is notifications. Azure allows us to configure to notify users on password resets and the default option set to yes. We can also configure to notify all admins when other admins reset their password and the default option set to no. We can also customize the helpdesk link by clicking on customization, which allows to change the default users who receive helpdesk email when the user click on the link contact your administrator in SSPR that we saw in the previous slide to a distribution list or the URL to a website where the user can enter their information to contact administrator to reset their passwords. Let's have Ryan add email as an additional authentication method. To do that, he needs to click on his profile and click on View Account. In this pop-up screen, he just click Close and click on Update Info. And he have to verify again by clicking on his account. And in the security info, he can add sign-in method and he click on the email. And here he have to type in an external email. And in this case, he can type in the email itlifeskills@outlook.com. Then click next. So now a code is sent to itlifeskills@outlook.com. And Ryan have to open the mailbox itlifeskills@outlook.com and open the email and get the code and paste it here. Then click next. That's it. Now email show up as an additional authentication method on his security info. Now let's have Ryan reset his password again. Here on this screen, he have to enter all the letters in the captchas to prove that he's not a robot, then clicks on the next button. Here it show up with 3 options and he can select approve a notification on my authenticator app, then click on send notification. Now on his phone he have to type in 66 to match with the number displayed on the screen. Because we configure to require 2 methods to reset the password, so now he have to click on email to email the code to his mailbox, and then he has to open his external mailbox and copy the code and paste it here. Then click next. Now he have to enter his new password to reset. So he pastes the password in the new password and in the confirm password. Then click finish and that's it. Ryan have just reset his password using SSPR. Because we keep the default option to notify users on password reset, so Ryan will receive this message after he reset his password. Everything looks good. The on-premises integration allows us to deploy SSPR with password writeback by using Microsoft Entra Connect or CloudSync. However, we do not have Microsoft Entra Connect or Cloud Sync. That's why it says that no agents that are capable of performing password writeback have been detected. The last option is administrator policy, and the policy allows the accounts with administrator roles to reset their password, and it requires two methods to reset the password, and here are the methods available to administrators. Let's conclude our lessons with the review questions.